another one.
So this one says unit testing unchangeable code. Can you do that? Let's find out. How can you handle unit testing code that has already been delivered? Now must be unit tested, so now can't be changed. To verify the code that is already out there, I realized how out of order that is was a result of poor management decisions and deadlines. This is in the context of C++. If you are on the hook for getting line coverage on private member functions and checking private state, but you can't refactor, what do you do? The only thing I can think of is to do a set compiler flag to allow private access, can direct check class states, or call private functions that otherwise may be extremely difficult to reach through public functions. There are also private functions whose effects are nearly impossible to sense. I realize that ideally you test as a black box and via public interface. I realize that a class's private function members are never directly accessed, and this is if I am doing this, I am testing in a way that the class is never exercised. I also realize that this leads to brittle tests, but this particular branch delivery will not be modified in the future. I am faced with very constrained testing conditions by not being able to change code and also being on a short deadline. Would really appreciate anybody's feedback if you have faced a similar situation. Well, the clock. Let's start the clock. All right. So I understand. So here's the problem with this question. The reason I chose this question is because I think it is flawed on its premise. Because why, just because the code is public, right? Why can't it be changed? Like, just not public, but just because the code is out there in production, why can't it be changed? Refactoring is a part of life. Like, literally, it's a part of life. Like, totally part of life, right? Things change all the time. So, are you telling me that if you have badly written code that works, but it can break, and you write a unit test that requires it to be changed, you can't do that? Because guess what? You're not deploying the code into production when you're testing it. So if you can start up the app and it works and everything like that, all your unit tests pass, all your automation tests pass, why can't that change code be deployed? And if you're doing modifications to the private functions so that they can be unit tested, then what is the harm? Like, I don't understand why you can't write unit. Like, what makes code unchangeable? See, part of the problem, what it sounds like, is that you don't have good tests. And because there is no reason that your code should be unchangeable, because if your business logic is working, then whatever you do under the hood shouldn't affect the actual business logic working. So you're telling me you can't just change the name of a variable to something else? Because if that's the case, then it sounds like there is some type of leakage. Yes, leakage that's happening over there. And I think that's a problem. I think that's a problem. So I hope we're not confusing changing business logic versus changing code. Because you should optimize your code because it's going to be less brittle, less flaky, more reliable, without impacting the business logic. Is it that the developers aren't willing to change the code? Because if that's the case, then what is the purpose of you writing unit tests in the first place? If the code is never going to be changed, why are we writing unit tests? That's another question. You know, I, I think a big part of the problem, especially for QA people, they don't speak up enough. You don't ask enough questions. You just accept, like, it's not this actually sounds like an SDET, a software development engineer in test, where we're just saying, okay, I need you to do this. Like, okay, oh, well, now I actually don't know how I can write unit tests for code that doesn't change. Well, if it's never going to change, then why do you need unit tests? That's one question. Under the tutelage, that's a nice word, the tutelage of Robert C. Martin, you should start writing unit tests when the code starts to change. So now it's like, okay, we have to go make a change here or change there. Well, let's write a test for it first of how we expect it to work. And then when we change the code, we have to make that unit test pass. And then we refactor, we make it clean, everything like that. But if you're just going to be writing a bunch of useless unit tests, then you're not really under a time crunch because you're wasting your time. See, this is where you're supposed to have a conversation with your manager, with the product owner, with the developers, and get a better understanding on why we're doing this. And if it's a good reason to say, well, then we have to refactor it. And this also exposes the misconception of unit tests. And that's why I'm such a big fan of test-driven development. Because unit tests is not just we don't write unit tests just to have that we say, oh, our code coverage is hitting every line. We're using it incorrectly if that's the case. The purpose of unit tests is to make sure that our methods are properly functioning, that the business logic is properly being accomplished. It's not just to say, oh, I have unit tests because I have unit tests. One thing I see happens a lot, people write all their code first and then they write the unit tests, now they have to go back and change the code. As opposed to, if we were to write our unit tests first, then we can write our code to make the unit test pass, and then we don't have to go back and do it over and over and over again. We just have to worry about refactoring. Every time you make a change, if things start to break, you undo. I think we shoot ourselves in the foot. You have to ask these questions. You can't just accept that, say, oh, the code is unchangeable. There is no such thing as unchangeable code. All code can be changed to accomplish the greater good of the code, of the software, of the team, of the company. All right? All right.
I just stepped out, cap and gown in hand. Dreams in my pocket, got a future so grand. Coding all night, learn the language right. Now I'm ready for the world, my future's so bright. Heart racing fast, I check my email twice. Hoping for that call, yeah, it's gonna feel nice. I'm on my way to the top, can nobody stop me. Dreaming big, working hard, just wait and see. Entry level today, but I'm reaching for more. Here I come, world, I'm ready to soar. Interviews lined up, gotta show my skill. Confidence on high, yeah, I'm ready for the thrill. Got my resume tight and my passion on display.